What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from AlexAFE, and today we have another deck profile. So today we're going to be continuing on the lyrical hype train with another lyrical deck, something that I really haven't seen any content for whatsoever. Maybe one list I think I saw. I think Kirby has one posted. I could be wrong off the top of my head, but I'm not sure if it's completely updated. I remember watching it a while back now. But we are going to be talking about Lilfa over here. So very, very fun budget deck. I think that this is very inexpensive to pick up, very easy to play overall, and I personally do like it. I feel like it's a lyrical bastion in a way. If you're into the aesthetic, it's pretty cool. If you want to get a friend into the game, they like this aesthetic, whatever, the lyrical thing in general. This is a great, like first deck or kind of a beginner deck. It's not a very high tier deck, but if you are going first, I think it's honestly, you have a chance against like any deck. Like this is actually pretty powerful overall. You're hitting some insane numbers. So thank you guys for tuning in. And if you guys are interested in purchasing any of the cards you see here in today's video, we do have a TCG player affiliate link down in the description below. Absolutely no cost to you. You can help support the channel by shopping through that link. Also, if you are enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. So with all that good stuff out of the way, one last thing, my metal cards, they sent me a bunch of cards. I really like their products. I know there was some stuff on Twitter or whatever recently, but I think that's all been cleared up. I think it's, it was a big misunderstanding in general. I'm speaking about the products here. They've been very kind to me. They've said some nice words and everything. Not just talking about the products themselves, just, outside of that too. They've been very supportive. So I definitely do appreciate it. I think that they are really cool designs on a lot of them. I think they've kind of corralled in and focused more on Vanguard units and just units in general. They made this custom one for me. The shine is great. I handed out a bunch of these at my locals. A lot of people were excited about it. And I personally just love seeing this. We don't have field centers, things of that nature. So the fact that you can have some self-expression with these is absolutely great. So go check them out. Their link is going to be in my bio as always. So really great people, in my opinion. At least the people that I've dealt with and stuff. So yeah, go check them out. I really do like their products a lot, and I'm going to continue to support them the way they support me. Yeah, kicking it right off with the ride line. So the 0, the 1, the 2, and the 3. We're going to go over the new one in a second, but the 0 right here, all of them have the Lilfa name, the 0 to the 2, even the 3, but we do need the Lilfa names in here. You might be saying, hey, there's better ride lines to run. Sure, that is true, but we do need those Lilfa names because when rid upon by a Lilfa, you can basically go and take a card from your hand, bounce it down to the middle center column rear guard. Basically it gets boost, and you boost for insane numbers, basically guaranteeing a hit almost. Not that most people were denying it anyway, but it's just pretty cool. You get to draw a card also off that. The grade 2, when it's rode upon, then you get to then bounce a card back to your hand, so you can readjust that column, change things up whichever way you see fit. With the grade 3, let's zoom in a little bit over here and start talking about this, because this is awesome boss unit. I think this is the one that you should be running. It has the dress up ability, so just for anybody who's just starting out and maybe not familiar, that basically means it has the original Lilfa name. I'll show you that card in just a second, but you can then ride, in the main deck, you can have the regular, the original Lilfa. You can ride this over it. Still counts as a persona ride. This counts as 4 copies. Doesn't count against the 4 copies. Like you could have 4 of this, 4 of the original Lilfa. Completely fine. Its second skill, the main unit over here, the main reason you play it really, continues on Vanguard Circle. All your grade 2 or greater rear guards get boost, and all of your other grade 3 units with Lilfa in their card names get an additional 20k shield. So a lot of shield, a lot of insulation. You think this is a grade 3 deck, glass cannon. Still feels a little glass cannon-y for sure, but having that extra 20k shield just randomly pop up makes a big difference. 20k is a good number in this game, in this format. Auto on Vanguard Circle. Also, when this unit attacks, if all of your units are grade 2 or greater, counterblast 1. Choose up to 3 of your rear guards, return them to your hand, choose up to 2 grade 3 cards from your hand, and call them to rear guard circle in the same column. So again, they get boost. You just hit insane numbers off of this. Basically, your grade 3 is going to be powering themselves up, powering each other up. It's just a really great time overall. So that is the ride line. And let me show you what I'm running in the main deck to kind of facilitate this monster. There we go. You can still see that in frame. Perfect. 3 more copies of Persona Ride. Don't need to go over the skill again. Persona Ride is really good. It really feels like a death sentence in this over here. Hitting that against your opponent, especially if you went first, really great. You want to be doing that. We are also going to be running 4 copies. I was running this originally at 3, but I think 4 copies just makes the deck feel a little bit tougher overall. The thing is, this doesn't really extend, doesn't really do too much on the fields. Like, it really should be a Vanguard, but the fact that it is a shield is just like too big to pass up on. I think if you're running this, especially like a more budget list overall, budget-minded kind of list, I think that this should be at 4. You can bump it to 3, but I don't think it should be less than 3 in general. I'm just gonna go over skill in case you do want a Persona Ride. You think that's still, you can get off the kill turn with it. Act on Vanguard Circle. Once per turn, you can Soul Blast 1. All your grade 2 or greater rear guards get boost until the end of turn. Also, at the end of the battle, this unit attack, if you have 3 or more grade 2 or greater rear guards in your back row, counterblast 1, choose a rear guard from each your front row and back row, return them to hand, and if you return 2 cards, choose up to 2 grade 3 cards from your hand, call into an open rear guard circle. So if you want to do 5 attacks, you could bounce cards, kind of do that. You can interchange between the 2. Like when you're ready for it, I think I'm going to show you cards that kind of enable this over here, enable the bounce and whatnot. I think that this can be a little bit better in a way than this one right here, but I feel like this is more stable, the base one. So it's really up to you which one you want to go into, and the fact that it is a 20k shield really doesn't hurt it either. So should always kind of be persona riding. But this is such a good card, this new one over here. This is going to be Frolic Hopper Funat. So Funat continues on rear and guardian circle if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lilfa in its card name. This guy gets 10k plus 10k shield also. So being a 23k base is just, it feels really, really nice overall. Boosted by something else too. I mean, you're hitting insane columns, like I said. At the end of the battle, this unit attack while boosted by a grade 2 or greater unit. You get to Energy Blast 3, choose one of your grade 2 or greater rear guards, and return it to hand. So you could choose itself. If you have 2 of these in the front row, you have 2 Energy Blasts, you can go and put that back to hand. End of turn, you want to bounce those back to hand. Again, 10k shields kind of insulate you a little bit further. It takes this glass cannon deck and actually makes it a little bit better overall. So I do like that a whole lot. Next up too, this is one of our draw engines, one of the original pieces. It's a hefty cost for this. You know, you don't maybe need to run this F4, but I just think there's nothing really else better to run necessarily for in this archetype. I think this is still a pretty decent card, but this guy is Passionate Devotee. How do you say this? Side trade, something like that. When this guy is placed on rear guard circle from hand, you get to, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lilfa in its card name, till the end of turn, this unit gets 5k, and if it was placed during your main phase, Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. So again, you can't Soul Blast and draw during the battle phase, but extension, deck building, something that this deck doesn't really have too much outside of a few select cards, this being one of them. So I think the ability to draw is just absolutely necessary. We recycle our soul in a couple ways. We also have soul chargers in here, so the soul cost is expensive, but at the same time, we have ways to replenish it and kind of keep that going at least once per turn, usually, depending on what you want to use. Heart and soul of this deck, honestly, this is the big backing for this deck that without this, I feel like this deck would not be great at all. Such an easy, simple, overlooked card, I feel like. Early Afternoon Elegance Racine. During your turn, continues on rearguard circle. This unit cannot attack the Vanguard, and this unit gets 10k. That's fine. You don't need to attack the Vanguard, because guess what? It gets boost. So you have a 23k booster. Anything else that gives power, go for it. But 23, you know, you have a 46k column effortlessly. Literally no abilities used whatsoever between these two. They just pop them down. It's just a 46k column without using any of your resources. So that, in my opinion, is very, very big, very hard to get over. If with the original base grade 3, you want to be kind of calling that column, retreating that back to hand, leaving that in the back row, who cares? Overall, just amazing card. Again, too, on the ride line, when you're boosting with it, all of a sudden you're swinging with like a 33k column. They're like, what the heck? In the beginning of the game, maybe they wanted to mitigate some of their damage early. You just kind of chat on that idea. So, very, very good card. Pardon me for my French right there. Hope I don't get demonetized. Over here, Splash Delight Percy, I think I said it. Persis, I think it's an S, yeah. When this guy is placed on rearguard circle, if you have a Vanguard with Lilfa in its card name, Soul Charge 1, and this unit gets 2k until the end of turn. So hitting that 15k threshold, you know, 15k boosting a 13k. If it's just a 13k, sure, you hit that 28k threshold, 5k more, 33. You're hitting still really, really sweet numbers. Again, soul charging is not an issue necessarily, but something that we have to actively do. You have to be thinking about it because a lot of things do use the soul, as we're going to see coming up. Next up here too, like I said, we don't build a board out of thin air in this deck. It just doesn't happen. Having this pop down, if you need that counter charge, sure, into soul, great. Or just draw 2 cards. Like, both of these are actually really good for our strategy depending on where you're at. I don't think you can go ever wrong with just drawing 2 cards, like a hard +1 right here. So I like this card personally. I think that I'm gonna consistently use this whenever I see it. So yeah, that's the one I am including here. It's not incorrect to potentially run 4 but also just to get 2 of the most select grade 3s that you want out at any time. But I think the net benefit of that is just a little bit better. It's a little bit more budget too, and I'm trying to keep that in mind as I build this right here. Next up here too, for the grade 2s, we are running 4 of the original support, Almost Late Prula, I think that's an I can't really, Prufla? I honestly can't read it from where I'm at. My eyes are terrible. But when this guy's placed on rear, if you have a grade 3 or greater with Lilfa, again, you get to choose a grade 2 or less normal unit with Lilfa in its card name, aka the ride line, and then tuck it back into soul. And if you put it into soul, this guy gets 5k until the end of turn. Again, 15k booster, pretty good. Hitting sweet numbers, hitting magic numbers, really the consistent theme of this deck helps us kind of do that. Also puts things, Lilfa's back into soul, because like I mentioned, we do have something that uses the name. So some more new support right here. Immersed in Ripples, Avenus. It's really, you know what, let's go over the skill first and let me talk about this. Auto when this guy's placed on rearguard circle other than during the battle phase. If you have a Vanguard with Lilfa in its card name, Soul Blast 2 cards with Lilfa in their names. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 2 or greater card with a different card name from them. Call it to rearguard circle. So in a way, if you're willing to run like the Willista ride line, you can go for that one instead, and then replace these with what was it, the Stregas. It's just, you know, not budget to do that. So with that being in mind, I kind of kept it that way. I feel like this is pretty decent too. Just being able to go Soul Blast 2, go search the top 5, feels pretty decent. You're not kind of obliged to go and do it on your grade 2 turn. You're not, you know, like hard mulling for that Strega either, but that is another way you can build this. But if you want to keep it a little bit more budget, a little bit more flexible, this also allows us flexibility. This is the way to go right here. It's just a 10K. At the end of the day, you mostly replace this, you call over it. So in that regard, it's not the greatest, but you know, like I said, building a board is important. This is the only unit pretty much to do it. And it can be the difference of, you know, a great turn or an okay turn. Again, finding the boosters, finding something to maybe draw, extend even further, you know, go into your thing that can bounce back the hand, maybe, you know, get another 20K shield. You have a lot of options there. So yeah, next up, getting into the grade 1s, we are just running 1 Elementaria and then 3 of this right here. Again, if you don't want to, you know, spring out for an Elementaria, I don't know how much they are. I think they're like $10 now. They might be a little bit, but just run the 4th copy of that. Big deal. You know, it's not making a huge difference in today's game necessarily, especially if you're playing a little bit more budget. I wouldn't bring this list to like BCS or anything, but you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see it at like locals or whatever. Again, keeping in mind budget, I'm just opting for the vanilla ones here. If you have them, use the effect ones that give you 10K. We need to draw, need to draw, need to draw. I don't know how else to say it, but you know, like I said, don't build a board, need to draw, get our pieces, get our things together, and have a really bang up kind of turn. And if you're on this one right here, it's only a 4 attack deck. If you're on this one, you can make it a 5 attack, especially with bouncing this one back to hand. So, you know, fronts in that case would be better, but I feel like you have to get to that point, and to get to that point, you need to draw cards, which the draw trigger does do for us, and can really help us out early game. 8 crit, because why not? We are playing Cardfight Vanguard, standard. For normal heals, you can toss in any effect triggers you feel like is necessary, and again, keeping it kind of budget, I'm just running with the regular Rumina over here, the over trigger for Lyrical. Like I said, overall, this deck is really fun. I feel like this is just an easy strategy to go first, kind of beat the brakes off your opponent. I've faced a lot of people like, what the heck just happened? Like, where did this come from, kind of thing. And I've won games I really shouldn't, just off raw power. Sometimes I've closed them out like when they're on grade 2 still. So very, very powerful in that regard. I feel like I said, it is a little bit more insulated with the grade 3s. You have the option for a 5 attack with the old guy. You have, you know, a very stable kind of turn with the new dress up, the new support cards with the triple rare. Absolutely great. That's the example of maybe the deck isn't so great, but the support card is absolutely busted. So thank you guys so much. Let me know any comments down below. You know, how would you change this? If you guys want to see any decks too, let me know. If you guys are enjoying the content, as always, leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you guys so much. This is Alex from Alex CFE signing out.